Welcome to the Good Morning from the Chicken Coop podcast with Kim Johnson, your creative strategist and master mindset coach. Filled with inspiration, distinctions, perspectives, and possibilities, we help you to cultivate a mindset that leads you to create the best version of yourself you could ever imagine. Join Kim every morning from one of her favorite happy places, her chicken coop, along with all her chickens.
Hey everybody, good morning from the chicken coop. Oh, look at him, like right on cue today there. Jeez, that cracks me up when he does that. So I have a question for you today, because a lot of people recently have said they're endeavoring in new projects, and people have given them feedback about how this said project may not work. And I'm curious about who you're taking your feedback from. Now, I'm not suggesting that all of you have had this recently, but it seems to be whenever our economy starts to get weird and funky, people will start to look for alternatives, and a lot of them go into entrepreneurship, which is something that my family has been in absolutely forever. My dad's mom, my grandmother, had opened her own remnant shop during the Depression, which is so impressive because she could do something, and my grandfather, who owned a cabinet making business, obviously was not making cabinets in the middle of the Depression. So she figured out a business and she did it on her own. She's like my hero. And I was just brought up in the fact of, listen, you always go and have your own thing going. Whether you do it full-time or part-time, you always have your own gig going. But hence back to feedback. So lots of people love to give feedback, don't they? Whether it's asked for or not. People love to give you their opinion and feedback. And I always have to ask the question, what great achievement has been performed by this person that qualifies them to set up any limitations for you? Well, I mean, honestly, what great thing did they do? Unless they have done something that you admire so much, and they have been the person that has run multiple businesses, they are qualified to sit there and give you the things that could potentially be a downfall, they have no business telling you anything that you should take in as a permanent opinion. So think of it this way. You can have somebody give you their opinion and their limitations and their reasons, however you want to look at it, that you maybe shouldn't do something. Sure, listen, because you never know what you're going to learn. And my opinion is there's always something to learn. In every situation, there's always something to learn. That being said, what we do is not pay attention to it and take it in long term. We do not need to take something in long term. We just hear it and we let it go. We don't make it something that puts us in a position where it stops us from our dreams. I mean, hell, if I had let people stop me from my dreams, I would have never, ever years ago gone to work for Tony Robbins. My mother thought it was the craziest thing in the whole world. She's like, well, you have your own business. Why would you do this? Because at the time, I owned an advertising agency and a photography studio. And why would I go? Why would I do that? Well, there was just a part of me that always wanted, as great as I am in my creative zone, there was a part of me from the time I was little that wanted to be a teacher, that wanted to be a writer, that wanted to do the things that I'm doing right this moment. And I just didn't do it because I was, and believe me, my father was the one that told me I couldn't be a teacher. Because at the time, in the world when that was taking place, there was no technology to do what we did. There was no coaching. There was this thing that I do didn't exist. So while his opinion was valid, and I listened to him because he had achieved all the stuff that I wanted to, and I went down the road that opened up my world and created a business for me and everything else. The moment that I could do something else, the moment that I went down this road and had that exposure to self-development, it changed everything. Now that was after my father had passed away. I had other things open up, but I always kept it in the back of my head that I would look for that opportunity. Because when my father gave me the advice, he said something very important. He said, if you can find a way to teach, and you can find a way to teach and make really good money doing it, then you should go into it. But you've got to always look at how much your time is worth. Ever since that man said that to me, I always look at how much my time is worth. And I value my time greatly. So I took in the advice. I held on to the information because I knew at some point something would have to come up. Something would have to come up. And once self-publishing got in the world and you didn't have to spend an inordinate amount of time and effort to get a publisher to pay attention to you, because now you commanded your own value, which is so important. So think about this. Whatever you have going on, whatever you want to do, whatever you're thinking you want to have happen in your world, and you go out and you share it with people, be careful who you share it with. Because if you're looking for people to just be your cheerleaders, they don't. So choose carefully. If you're looking for people to say, wow, I'm so impressed by you, they don't, because it's not about you when you're doing this. It's about them and where they are in their head. And if they're looking and they're comparing you to them, oh boy, that's even worse. Because by comparison, holy cow, they don't want to look at this and say, you are where you are and I am where I am and I'm far lower than you and therefore I suck. They don't want to be honest with what's happening in their world. They just want to put other people in their place, and I'm air quoting that as I say it, so that they don't feel out of place. So be careful with who you share it with, and be careful before you even ask the question, and be careful about what you believe about it, because you have to believe in your dreams more than anybody, otherwise they won't come true. I believed in this dream that I had of creating this magical world that I could share with everybody and use to show you how you can have anything. I have an amazing life I've created out here, and I do all that I do from a farm. I mean, think about that. I get to run this farm, create constant, non-stop, beautiful things out here, and I get to do what I want to do. It's not an accident, it's a choice. So, I hope you guys have a very blessed day in whatever you are doing, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.